The African dusk was sinking into night, painting the savanna hills in crimson light. The vibrant hues of day were melting away, leaving behind shadows that stretched and danced across the rocky outcrops. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the familiar chorus of evening rose from the land. Birds gave their final calls, their songs echoing farewell to the departing day. Crickets began their nightly chirp, and the air grew still, heavy with the scent of night-blooming jasmine and damp earth. To most creatures of the savanna, it was just another evening, the prelude to a familiar night. But in the cracks and crevices of those ancient rocks, a small drama was about to unfold. A drama of courage, resilience, and the will to survive against all odds. Amongst the network of tunnels and chambers that the rock Hyraxes had carved out over the years, a young female named Malika stirred. Her kind, often mistaken for nothing more than a furry rodent, were known for their sturdy lives, living in tight colonies, always alert, always ready to vanish into the crevices at the slightest hint of danger. Tonight, however, Malika felt a little bolder. Drawn by the smell of fresh plants near a stream, she padded out of her crevice and into the open ground. She didn't notice the golden eyes that gleamed at her from high on the ridge above. Eyes that shone like molten gold against the darkening sky. Eyes that belonged to the sleek, muscular predator with tufted ears twitching, listening to every rustle. Its paws moved without a sound, a silent killer born of stealth. For hours it had hunted unsuccessfully. Its lithe body coiled with frustration. Hunger sharpened its focus, and now it had found the perfect target. A lone Hyrax would be easy prey. A quick bite, a brief struggle, and dinner would be won. As the Caracal descended from its perch, Malika finally lifted her head, sniffing the air, catching the wind that whispered tales of approaching danger. But it was too late. The predator had spotted her, its muscles bunching under its tawny coat as it crouched low, poised to strike. The air thickened with anticipation. Every rustle, every sigh, amplified in the sudden stillness. The chase had ended, and the game of cat and mouse was reduced to a single, heart-stopping moment. Then in a flash, the Caracal launched itself forward like an arrow loosed from a bow. Claws flashing, fangs bared, it was a blur of muscle and sinew. Malika froze, shock paralyzing her for a heartbeat. There was no time to dash for the rocks, no chance to hide. All she could do was watch as the predator closed in, its intent clear, its power undeniable. For a moment, it seemed like the hunter and the hunted were locked in a tableau, the predator poised to strike, the prey frozen in fear, but the tableau shattered. The Caracal struck, its paw raking across Malika's side, tearing flesh and sending a searing pain coursing through her small body. She let out a sharp squeal as blood dripped from the wound, staining the soil crimson, a grim omen of things to come. The Caracal, sensing victory, tightened its grip, its fangs sinking into her neck. Malika struggled, thrashing wildly, but the hold was tight. Her vision blurred, her limbs grew heavy. Death, it seemed, was at hand. Yet, as the darkness threatened to consume her, something inside Malika snapped. Driven by instinct, by a primal urge to live, she wheeled around, baring her tiny, sharp teeth, her heart pounding against her ribs. Though small, she was fierce, her determination blazing hot. The Caracal, taken aback by this sudden defiance, paused, its eyes narrowed, momentarily forgetting the taste of imminent victory. In that split second, Malika charged, darting forward, squealing with all her might, her voice ringing out across the rocks, carrying a desperate plea for help. The sound sliced through the night, piercing, frantic. From the colony, hidden in the rocks above, heads lifted. Dozens of eyes turned toward the sound of distress. The call for help had been sounded. The Caracal, startled by this unexpected turn of events, hesitated, giving Malika the opening she needed. With a burst of adrenaline, she scrambled back toward the rocks, her small body trembling, her blood mingling with the dust beneath her feet. But she kept moving, driven by sheer will, by the hope of reaching the safety of her colony. From the rocks above, other Hyraxes poured out, their cries loud and shrill, echoing in response to their comrades' distress. The Caracal, though strong and swift, was one against many. The colonies swarmed, not to attack, but to confuse, to overwhelm. They darted in and out, squealing, rushing toward the predator from all sides. The Caracal lashed out, slashing at the air, its ears flattened against its skull, its tail lashing in irritation. The Hyraxes, though smaller and seemingly weaker, were united, their numbers giving them strength. The predator found itself uncertain, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of these tiny attackers. Malika, despite her injuries, rallied, drawing strength from the sight of her colony standing together. Their unity bolstered her spirits, reminding her that she was not alone. Together, they would face this danger. Together, they would stand firm. The Caracal, though fierce, decided it wasn't worth the effort. With a snarl that echoed through the rocks, it turned and fled, vanishing into the darkness. The Hyraxes watched it go, their bodies tense, their cries subsiding into relieved murmurs. With the immediate danger past, the colony turned back to Malika, their injured comrade. Gently, carefully, they helped her back into the safety of their rocky home. Inside the labyrinth of tunnels, they cared for her, their soft fur brushing against her wounds, their tiny tongues cleaning the blood and dirt. They huddled around her, sharing their body heat, ensuring she didn't succumb to the chilling night. As the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, chasing away the remnants of darkness, Maleka felt a surge of gratitude. She had survived, not because she was the strongest, not because she was the fastest, but because she refused to surrender, because she trusted her instincts, and because she was not alone. News of the Hyrax that had fought back spread like wildfire across the savannah. Birds carried their alarm calls, and even the baboons on the cliffs seemed to chatter about the night's drama. To the wild, it was just another skirmish, a nightly occurrence in the eternal cycle of predator and prey. But to the Hyraxes, it was legend, a testament to their collective strength. The next time Maleka ventured out of her crevice, she was greeted by whispers of admiration. Her colony mates, young and old, crowded around her, their eyes shining with respect. They had witnessed bravery in her, a quality that transcended size or strength. From that day on, Maleka became a beacon of courage for her colony. Her story served as a reminder, passed down through generations, that even the smallest creature, when bound by courage and unity, could defy the fiercest of predators. And for the villagers who walked past those cliffs each day, the cries of the Hyraxes held a different meaning. They saw in it a reminder that sometimes the greatest threat comes not from external foes, but from within oneself, from the fear that can paralyze the heart. They learned that true strength lay not just in physical prowess, but in the courage to stand up, to fight back, to refuse to be a victim. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember Maleka, the Hyrax that chose not to surrender. Let her story echo in your heart, urging you to confront your fears head-on, to fight for your place in the sun. Remember, it's not the size of the Hyrax that matters, but the size of the spirit within. Under those ancient rocks, with the sunrise blazing gold across the cliffs, a small animal carried a great truth, that courage, even in the smallest of hearts, can turn a predator's hunger into retreat.